There's innocent people who are going to die in prison.
The driver's door was flung open.
That conviction altered the course of my entire life.
I was cautioned not to run or I'd be shot in the back in front of my children.
Some people have longer sentences than I do.
Why were we not good enough for fairness?
Mine was enough to kill me.
This cost me my whole life.
Those were just a few of the first-hand accounts of people who have been wrongly convicted. Today is Wrongful Conviction Day, and today we're hearing stories here at Osgoode Hall of people who have dealt with a miscarriage of justice, including Jamie Nelson.
I had my youngest two sons in our van, and we were going for a road trip to get ice cream. And on the way home, I pulled into my driveway. Before I had the van in park, the driver's door was flung open, and I had a service weapon pressed to my head, and I was cautioned not to run or I'd be shot in the back in front of my children.
Jamie Nelson recalls the details vividly. It was in 1996. He was charged with sexual assault, forcible confinement, and uttering death threats. Allegations made by a woman named Kathy Fordham.
I met Kathy Fordham. She was a bartender at my father's favorite pub. And one Thursday, my dad invited me out for a pint. Away we went, and I got to meet Kathy Fordham. And I ran into her several months later. I got a random phone call. She needed a ride home from work. So I agreed to give her a ride home, and at that point, I was introduced to her best friend, a lady by the name of Christine Thompson. And Christine and I eventually started to date. And then when Christine became pregnant, our relationship dissolved quite rapidly.
And a bitter custody battle ensued. During this time, Jamie started dating a woman named Marie, and they eventually had children of their own. And as he settled into a life as a husband and father, bombshell allegations by Kathy Fordham. They were enough to convict Jamie. And so he was sentenced to more than 3 years in prison in 1996. 18 of those months were spent in solitary confinement because Jamie refused to take the mandatory sex offender counseling program.
I remember it all. Violence and everything that comes with violence is every second of every day. Within weeks, I witnessed an inmate-on-inmate murder 6 feet from me. There was nothing I could do. I had to step over a dead body just to get out of where it happened.
Jamie completed his full sentence, but while he was in jail, he says his accuser, Kathy Fordham, was exposed as a liar.
And how she got caught was, ironically, a little cluster of defense lawyers. It was Bob Gertan, Karen Reed, and my defense lawyer, Ken Hall. And Karen Reed said, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe this story, this client that I have and what he's been accused of." So she was recounting the story. And then the other lawyer, Rob Gertan, said, "Oh my God, I've got a client that's almost in the same scenario." My defense lawyer says, "Oh my God, I've got a guy in federal custody. What's the name of the accuser?" Both of them said the name at the same time. So that prompted the Defense Lawyers Association in Ottawa to conduct an internal review to see how many of them were dealing with clients that were accused of Kathy Fordham. The number was staggering.
Kathy Fordham was charged and sentenced to jail time. In August 2001, in what Jamie claims took less than 4 minutes, he was exonerated. But it came with a heavy price. Jamie claims his family life started to fall apart while he was in prison.
Marie suffered a nervous breakdown, and the CAS became involved. The children were apprehended.
The two split and never got back together, but they are still friends. Jamie says he was able to restore relationships with his children. He now acts as an advocate for the wrongly convicted.
It literally can happen to anybody. It happened to me. And when it happens instantly.
Today is Wrongful Conviction Day, and we're here at the Law Society here in Toronto, and people are sharing their stories of wrongful convictions, including Maria Shepherd.
My name is Maria Shepherd, and I was wrongly convicted of manslaughter in the death of my 3-year-old stepdaughter.
April 9, 1991, Maria's stepdaughter Cassandra had a series of seizures, and at the hospital, she died. Dr. Charles Smith, the pediatric pathologist at the Hospital for Sick Children, conducted Cassandra's autopsy. He concluded Cassandra had died as a result of abuse involving a blow to the head. He also mentioned in his findings that there was a watch-shaped mark under her scalp. Maria was questioned by police. Her home was searched, and she was eventually charged with manslaughter. That fall, she was sent to prison in Toronto, then Brampton, leaving behind 3 children. She was also pregnant.
Did you feel like anyone maybe treated you differently because you were convicted of killing your stepdaughter?
There's no question. I mean, I was barely in the doors of Vanier, and there was already inmates sitting in the same room as me waiting to be processed, and very clearly told me that they had been waiting for me.
Maria spent 8 months behind bars before being released on parole. It took 25 years after her conviction for her name to be cleared. This came after the Chief Coroner of Ontario reviewed 45 autopsies carried out by Dr. Smith and found problems with 20 of them, including Cassandra's. Smith's license was eventually stripped. It wasn't until Maria's exoneration that she and her family finally put a picture of Cassandra in their home.
She's there with in the middle with the polka dots.
Oh, yeah. She's beautiful.
Yeah. Some people have longer sentences than I do. Mine was enough to kill me emotionally and psychologically. So deep inside, there's a huge part of me that's gone. But there's also another side that you either come out and you take tragedy and you use it as a way to raise awareness and how things can happen.
We also had a chance to speak to David Milgaard. He is a man who spent 23 years in jail for a crime he did not commit. If you would like to hear that interview and the others, you can go to our website, citynews.ca, and there's a 3-part series there.